guys, it's Raul again, and as the title of this video says, I went to Bookcon, and these are kind of the experiences that I had while I was there. I didn't do any vlogging, because this was the first kind of book event that I've ever been to, so I told myself from the beginning before I even went that I wasn't going to vlog. I was going to kind of pay attention to all of my surroundings, and not have to worry about kind of, taking out my phone or my camera and videotaping everything, because I wanted to experience everything firsthand and not really be distracted by having to film things. So I didn't do any vlogging, but I did take some pictures, which I will insert, throughout this kind of talk about my experiences at Bookcon. So let's just go ahead and get started. Now, for those of you who don't know, Bookcon was this past weekend on Saturday the 14th of May in Chicago at McCormick Place, and this is a huge bookish event convention that a lot of people went to. I saw a lot of booktubers while I was there, which was really, really exciting, and was probably the best thing that kind of happened during the weekend, was just being able to meet a lot of these booktubers. I know a lot of people say that it's just a great experience, but until you've actually met a lot of the friends and stuff that you've met online, it's hard to understand. I never really understood it until I actually experienced, meeting these people that I've been talking to online for such a long time. It was such an amazing, amazing experience. I know on Friday night when we got there the day before the event, we went out for pizza with Sarah Ann Hayes and Emily from Emily Hornberg, and it was such a great experience to just be able to hang out and sit and talk about books and life, and it was just absolutely wonderful. I feel like I have a better connection with my booktube friends that I met there now because I've met them in person. It's not just an online thing. It's not just watching their videos and commenting and social media. I've actually met these people in person, and it was such a wonderful experience on Friday to be able to go out and have pizza and try Chicago style pizza for the first time. Was just an amazing, amazing experience, because now I absolutely am obsessed with Chicago pizza because it is amazing. Now, the day of the actual event at Bookcon on Saturday was just somewhat chaotic when you first walked in. The kind of first 2 hours, or the 2 hours before the event starts, because it started at 10, but from 8 to 10 they were kind of giving out these bracelets for the signing, so you had to kind of get there early and get into the lines with the bracelets that were being handed out, the wristbands that were being handed out for the specific author that you wanted to go see. So as people kind of got their wristbands, they were only limited amount. They would kind of, whenever they would run out, they'd let everybody know, so-and-so author was sold out. Obviously, Cassandra Clare was probably the first one to go, and Sarah G. Maas also. So then after that, kind of all the big named ones were the first ones to go after that, like Marissa Meyer sold out quickly. Victoria Aveyard was gone before we got to the front of the line. So it was a little disappointing because I wanted to see Victoria Aveyard, and I took my copy of Red Queen to get signed, and I wanted to get Glass Sword signed, but unfortunately I wasn't able to see Victoria Aveyard. But I did end up seeing Leigh Bardugo, which was just an amazing, amazing experience to see Leigh Bardugo, because she's definitely one of my favorite authors. I've read all of her books and absolutely love her. The only thing that was kind of keeping me from seeing Leigh Bardugo from the beginning was that it was required to buy one of her books to go into the signing, and I already own all of her books and kind of didn't want a second copy, but because in the end she was the only one kind of available from the group that I wanted to really go see, I ended up just picking up a second copy of Six of Crows, which I'll show you guys toward the end, and get that signed. But it was just a wonderful experience, and in the end I kind of realized that it was worth getting that second copy of Six of Crows just to get it signed and meet Leigh Bardugo, because she was absolutely, absolutely amazing. Now, as to the panels, there was a bunch of panels also going on throughout the day. I only ended up going to one. I don't think we planned things properly, even though I kind of made a calendar with all the things I wanted to go to, but they were so on top of each other. Everything that I had planned was right after the other thing, so there was kind of no real room to get to certain panels at times. We were trying to get to certain panels and we were too late, so we couldn't really get in because there were signings that I had scheduled before the panels and ran too close, and then we didn't get to the panels on time. But I was able to go to an early panel at 11 o'clock, which was the Diverse Reads panel, and they were talking about love and loss and in children and YA literature, and it was super, super fun. Leigh Bardugo was on that panel, Jenny Han, Anna Marie McLemore, Sherman Alexie was on that panel too with a couple of other people. So I was really excited. It was a really, really great panel that they were able to talk about kind of love and loss within children's literature, what their feelings and thoughts were about diverse reads and diverse characters in their writing and everything, which was just absolutely amazing. It was just a wonderful, wonderful panel and a great experience to just sit there and see these authors talk about their writing and how they incorporate diverse reading and what they want and feel for diverse reading and books and everything for the future. It was just an absolutely wonderful experience. I also, like I said, got to meet more booktubers on Saturday, which was really fun. I know there were a couple of booktubers that I did not approach because I was too scared to. I don't know. It was just weird. Like, there's a couple of people that I approached that I didn't I know they didn't know me, and it was just a little bit awkward. So I kind of just stayed away from really approaching booktubers that I know didn't know me because I'm not very well known. So I don't know. I just didn't want to make it awkward for everybody. You know, just having a random person come up and saying hi and talking to them, because I felt it was weird when I did it, so I just didn't keep doing it. So if I walked by you and you guys recognized me for some reason and didn't say hi, I'm sorry. It was a little overwhelming with all the people, and it was a little kind of out of my comfort zone to kind of approach people that I didn't really know. So I'm sorry if you guys did see me and I didn't say hi. I apologize, but for the people that I did go up to and say hi, it was just a great experience to kind of interact and talk for a little bit and everything. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience to just, you know, like I said, be able to meet these people finally in person that I've been kind of communicating with and interacting with online and through social media and everything. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. Overall, Bookcon was just wonderful. I loved McCormick Place and everything. Apparently, everybody says McCormick Place is a very large convention center compared to New York, where it was last year, because the convention center in New York is smaller, so it's more crowded and it feels kind of, there's less space to organize things properly. So everybody was saying that they preferred the Chicago location, which I really, really enjoyed, because at first, when we first got there, the lines were insane to kind of get there and get into the event and get your wristbands and everything before going into the actual show floor. So I thought it was going to be insanely crowded, but eventually when everybody got into the actual convention center and the show floor, everyone kind of spread out. There was so many other things to do, so it felt really relaxed. Surprisingly, you know, there were a lot of people, but it felt very relaxed. It felt very organized. There were only a couple of hiccups here and there, but overall it was just a wonderful, very relaxed kind of day. Like, I didn't feel stressed out. I didn't feel like everything was overcrowded, because I don't do very well in insanely large crowds. So I felt like it was the perfect amount of people for a type of event like this. So I absolutely loved it. I will definitely think about going next year, maybe to BEA and also Bookcon. So if I don't go next year to New York City, I will definitely probably go the year after that if they do it back in Chicago, because I loved the Chicago location. Even though it was a 10-hour drive, I got to get through some audiobooks on the way there. But it was just easier to kind of drive around Chicago versus New York City, because New York City, for those of you who haven't been, is just absolutely chaotic, and the driving there is just absolutely, absolutely terrible. And it is half the amount of time for me to get to New York City, but I will probably skip New York City and wait for it to be in Chicago again, because I actually really enjoyed Chicago, and like I said, it was just easier to kind of get around Chicago and its kind of surrounding areas. So I absolutely loved it. Bookcon was just an absolutely amazing experience. Everybody I met, thank you guys for being so nice. It was just such an amazing, amazing and wonderful experience. I just absolutely loved it. Moving on to some of the books that I picked up at Bookcon. Some of these, or most of these, are signed. I think I only have like one of these that aren't signed. But I'll kind of briefly mention the books that I got while I was there. Me and my wife are obsessed with the Property Brothers, so we picked up Dream Home from them, and we got to meet the Property Brothers, Jonathan and Drew Scott. It was just a wonderful experience. They were super great, super laid back. For those of you guys who are homeowners or like are obsessed with HGTV like I am, you guys know who these are. This is kind of their first book with like tips on how to remodel your home and that kind of thing, which we're also obsessed about. So it was just a great experience to get them. Now, the only book that I got there, and I didn't get signed because obviously the author wasn't there, was My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. This I just picked up because it was like really cheap. Like, it was cheaper there than it was even on Amazon. So I had to pick this up because I've been meaning to read it. Thanks to Sam from Thoughts on Tomes and everybody that was there with their group, Connor and Lainey, that were kind of giving away some extra ARC copies and things that they had from BEA from the week before, or the couple days before. I picked up Kindred Spirits by Rainbow Rowell, and then I picked up Empire of Dust by Eleanor Herman. This is the second book in the, I believe it's called Blood of Gods and Royals series. The first one being Legacy of Kings, and this is an ARC copy of the second book in that series, which I'm super excited about because I just actually won the first book in this series in a Goodreads contest. So now I have an ARC of the second book, which I'm super, super excited. This is the first ARC of anything I've ever gotten. So thank you to them and the group of booktubers that were there kind of just giving away their extra ARCs because they didn't fit in their suitcases. So I'm really excited that I was able to get this ARC. I also picked up a little sample kind of chapter of Veronica Roth's new book, Crave the Mark. I haven't read it yet. It's only about 10 pages long. It's only like, I think it's like chapter 7 or something very randomly, but I really enjoy Veronica Roth. I loved the Divergent series, so I'm excited to get to this one. Also, I also got to meet Mr. J.D. Netto, and I picked up his trilogy, the Whispers of the Fallen trilogy, so Whispers of the Fallen, Rebellion, and The Gathering of Shadows. I picked up and got all of these signed by him. I started reading the first book before Bookcon, but just never finished it, but was really enjoying it, so I just figured I'd pick up the entire series and just keep reading it in paperback copy because I do have an ebook copy of the first one, and that's where I started reading it, was just on my phone. So I got all of these. I picked up the trilogy and got it signed, so I'm really, really excited. J.D. Netto was super, super nice, and yeah, I'm excited that I finally have this because I've been wanting these. I'm super obsessed with these covers. These are like the buttery kind of paperbacks, so these are awesome. I've been wanting this series for the longest time, and I finally have it, and they're all signed. I also picked up The Weight of Feathers by Anna Marie McLemore. She was part of the Diverse Reads panel, and she's super, super nice. She is an LGBTQ Latina author, which is also really exciting. And this book is kind of reminiscent. I guess a lot of people describe it as like the Night Circus, and it's a love story between these two kind of star-crossed lovers, or like forbidden love between these two families. One being, I believe it's an Italian family, and the other one is like a Hispanic family. And it takes place within the circus and these two rivaling families and these two kind of teenagers who are part of separate families that kind of fall in love with each other. So I've heard amazing things about this book. I'm super excited that I got it. I got to meet the author and get this one signed. So really excited to get to this one, and it's pretty short, so I'll probably get to this one really, really soon because I'm really excited about this one. And like I mentioned, I got to meet Leigh Bardugo, and I got a second copy of Six of Crows and got this one signed also. She was just absolutely fantastic, like I said. I'm really, really excited for getting this one. So she signed it to me and then wrote on the inside, "Be Too Much," which was just I believe it's a quote from Nina, because I told her Nina was my favorite character in Six of Crows, so then she wrote kind of this quote in there. So I'm really excited I have this one. Now I have like I said, a second copy, but this is probably going to be the one that stays on my shelf as display, and then I'll use the second copy for rereads and for letting people borrow and that kind of thing, but this one is probably never leaving the house. So yeah, guys, that is it for the books that I picked up while I was at Bookcon and my experiences while I was there. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience for my first kind of bookish event. It was great. I absolutely loved it. Everybody that I met, like I said, was just awesome. I loved Chicago. It was just a wonderful experience. All the authors that I met, so next time, hopefully when I go, I get to meet more authors and kind of plan things out a little bit better. But I was really excited to go. If you guys plan on going to BEA or Bookcon next year, or any kind of other bookish events throughout the year, let me know down below. I'm new to this whole thing, so I'm kind of now discovering all of these other bookish events. So if you guys know of any other bookish events or anything kind of coming up, I know Y'all Fest about that, you know, coming up at the end of the year and everything, but any other bookish events, let me know, because I love going to these now. I really enjoy them. Thank you guys all for watching again. I'll see you guys all next time.